October 19, 1987, a day that began like any other in South Jakarta, Indonesia. But what followed was an unimaginable tragedy, a collision that would forever change the lives of many, leaving a scar in the history of Indonesia's railway system. In a single moment, two trains came barreling toward each other on the same track. What happened next? This is where it happened, in Bintaro, Jakarta. Two trains collided with an intensity unimaginable. Car 220 Patas Merak and Car 225 Rangkasbitung, heading in opposite directions, met on the same track. Within seconds, hundreds of lives were lost, and many more were left severely injured. A tragedy that was more than just an accident. It was a story of negligence, miscommunication, and perhaps, something more. That morning began like any other. But around 6:45 a.m., the two trains, speeding toward each other, collided with a force that was impossible to stop. A deafening noise echoed through the air as Car 220, traveling from Tanah Abang station to Merak, collided with Car 225, which was heading to Rangkasbitung. The communication system in place at the time was not able to prevent this accident. The two trains, unaware of each other's presence, met at a fatal point. Hundreds of lives were lost in an instant. Some died immediately from the crushing impact or the fire that quickly engulfed the trains. Others were trapped inside, suffocated by the debris and flames. There was no time for action. The fire spread so fast, and the injured had no chance to save themselves. In a split second, everything changed. That day, Bintaro became a place marked by the tragedy that would never be forgotten. One of the main figures in this tragedy was Slamet Saradio, the driver of Car 225 Rangkasbitung. He survived the accident, but his life was forever altered after that day. Slamet recalls how he followed the orders given by the Sudamara station head, who gave him the green light to proceed. However, what he didn't know was that Car 220 was already on the same track. After the accident, Slamet was sentenced to 5 years in prison for negligence. However, he insisted that he was merely following the instructions from the station head. His fate was sealed, and the consequences were life-changing, leaving him isolated and without a job, forced to rebuild his life in a completely new way. But what's even more tragic is that Slamet was not only punished by the law but also by society. He lived in isolation, shunned by others, haunted by the fact that he survived, while so many others lost their lives. After the event, it became clear that the root cause of this tragedy was the failure of communication between station officials. The railway system at the time was far from advanced. It relied heavily on a manual signaling system that was prone to human error. The station head at Sudamara gave a green light to Car 225, not knowing that Car 220 was already on the same track. The system failed to protect lives. So many lives were lost due to a system that was outdated and ineffective. A small error in communication, the green light, became the last signal for many passengers who never knew they were heading toward the death. Behind the numbers of the dead, there are heart-wrenching stories that still resonate today. One such story comes from a mother who survived, but lost both of her children. She described how she tried to shield her kids when the crash occurred, but they were separated from her in the chaos. For many of the victims' families, this tragedy was an unimaginable loss. They never had the chance to say a final goodbye. Some never even saw the bodies of their loved ones, and everything ended so abruptly, without warning. But the tragedy didn't just leave physical scars. Bintaro, the site of the collision, became known as a haunted place. Many witnesses have reported hearing the sounds of a train running at night, even though no trains were passing by. Not only that, but some taxi drivers and locals also report often feeling a presence following him, or hearing strange noises coming from the track at night. Some believe that the souls of the victims are still there, trapped in the place where their lives were so tragically cut short. The Bintaro tragedy sparked significant reforms. The Indonesian government introduced automated signaling systems and improved rail tracks to ensure better safety. Training for train operators and station staff was also improved. But those changes came too late for the lives that were lost. This tragedy reminds us that nothing is more precious than human life. A small system failure can take so many lives. But from that failure, we learn to improve, though nothing can ever bring back those lost lives. To this day, Bintaro remains a reminder that behind technology and progress, we must never forget the importance of safety and good communication. Let the story not just be a dark chapter in history but a valuable lesson for us all. Don't let such a tragedy happen again. Thank you for watching Creepy Hunter. Until next time, in our next chilling tale, if you dare,